And now it's time for Media Watch with Emma James, a look at what's buzzing online and on social media.
Heather.
So the Rugby World Cup final, finally tomorrow, feels like a long time coming. It's a big sporting event, but people are also excited about what's happening off the pitch.
Yes, absolutely. A very exciting battle in prospect with South Africa versus England early tomorrow morning. Many celebrating the fact that South Africa will be led out for the World Cup final by their first black captain. It is something that the country itself has celebrated and the sport has celebrated too, rightfully so. The player in question is Siya Kolisi, 28 years old, and it really is an incredible rags to riches story. He's come from the townships to claiming his 50th cap for his country. He's been described as the standard bearer for the Rainbow Nation and the ultimate role model. And when you see the scenes at his former school earlier this morning, where the excitement is clearly building ahead of what is a momentous occasion for them, it really is an amazing tale, because this is someone who wasn't worried about which type of boots he was wearing. Bryan Habana, another legendary South African player, said this. He wasn't worried about what kind of boots he had as a child. He was worried about whether or not he could find food for dinner. That's how poor he was. However, the Rainbow Nation still very much in the shadow of racism, because alongside him, one of his teammates, Eben Etzebeth, is actually facing allegations of racist assault back home. It happened back in August, just before the team was actually selected, and some people felt that he shouldn't have been allowed to go to Japan. But he denies any role in what was an alleged pistol whipping and racist abuse of a group of 4 people back in August. It really has sown division at a time when you would hope the country would have been able to come together. And it's interesting to see that Total Sports, which is a South African chain of stores, has actually withdrawn any promotional material featuring him. So posters, cardboard cutouts of the player have all been removed from the store. They said, as a brand, we don't do controversies, we do sport. We made the decision to remove his poster. Now, they say they're not taking sides or passing judgment, but a lot of people have been talking about possibly boycotting Total Sports. This person saying which court found him guilty, because no court has yet found him guilty. He could face prosecution when he returns. We will have to wait and see. Some people as well felt that Total Sports really, by leaving it until a couple of days before the final, were actually maximising the PR potential and number of people who would talk about this story before it happened. Now, hopefully tomorrow, all anyone will be talking about is what's actually happening on the pitch. England Rugby welcoming some rugby royalty to their training today. You may recognise Johnny Wilkinson and Will Carling. They, of course, among the victors back in 2003, the only time that England have won the World Cup. Despite all their proclamations of greatness, they have only won it once. South Africa have won it twice. And it will be interesting that there is real royalty in the stands tomorrow too. Prince Harry will be flying out to Japan, the Duke of Sussex as he is now known, and he will carry with him a letter from Buckingham Palace addressed to Eddie Jones, the coach of the England team, and with the words from Queen Elizabeth, your performances during the tournament have delighted supporters and inspired many people throughout the country. And she offers her very best wishes for a memorable and successful match. Now, if that hasn't convinced you that you should get up early tomorrow and watch it, this is what happened today in the third place battle.
I wasn't expecting that, Emma.
I didn't think you would be. Yes, this is the All Blacks versus Wales, a full moon in the land of the rising sun. It's a great joke that quite a few people have come up with, including a commentator. Clearly very, very quick-witted there. Lots of other jokes around too. Almost a flash of brilliance from Anton Lienert-Brown there. And Anton Lienert-Brown will be the butt of the jokes when he gets back in the All Blacks changing room. In case you're wondering, that was the final score, 40-17. So New Zealand taking third place at the Rugby World Cup.
Doesn't look like it kept him down too much.
No, it's pretty impressive. I know, and a lot of people commenting on how durable those underpants are. Pretty impressive stuff.
Do we have any idea on the odds for tomorrow?
I don't know.
Me neither. Okay, we'll have to get a sports update later as well for that. So it's the day after Halloween. Now it's All Saints' Day, Toussaint, here in France. But how are celebrations? But we know Halloween, but for today, what do the celebrations look like?
Yes, absolutely. It should be a very religious affair because it is all about celebrating all saints. That's the idea. Interestingly, though, it does seem to be amalgamated here with tomorrow, which is the Day of the Dead or All Souls Day, Jour des Morts, because lots of people choose today to actually go to cemeteries, visit their late relatives, and leave chrysanthemums on their graves, as explained here by Living France magazine. Clearly, some people are still adhering to those old traditions. There's a photograph from earlier on today, lots of flowers, lots of chrysanthemums being left there. But some wondering whether perhaps an alternative homage might be better. This coming from a professor of wine who actually tweeted this cartoon, a different kind of way to pay homage to a relative, perhaps a heavy drinking one. But as society is changing, so is this holiday. And this gentleman saying that he knows he's old, but he finds it indecent that so many shops are actually open today because it should be a bank holiday. The stores traditionally would be closed. Now, clearly, this is someone who hasn't been to the UK for a long time because not many bank holidays are respected there in that way. But what he says is on this occasion, it is a total lack of respect that we are losing more and more of, basically. He will be horrified to learn that young people, many of them actually prefer, rather than going to a cemetery to honour the dead, they prefer to just leave a message on social media. 38% of 18 to 39-year-olds.
The modern memorial.
It is the modern memorial. It's also a little odd if you're tweeting about what you had for lunch and then the next thing you do is an homage to your great aunt or whatever. But it is something that people do. It's an automatic thing that people tend to do now with social media. Some of the messages are respectful and perfectly decent. Some of them are a little bit cringy, but this one I liked. For the people we miss, Dad and my best friend, and some candles there. This person saying the true place of the dead is in the heart of the living. And this one too, somebody paying homage to their pet. Lots of people doing that. In fact, one of the animal charities here in France has actually launched an entire website which is dedicated to the memories of our friends, as they call them. It's a website where you can leave photographs and post messages about the pets that you have lost. More than 6,500 people have already done so. So it is interesting to see that times definitely changing, social media and technology being used to great effect as well. But it's also worth remembering that at times when we rush to do these very quick, very short tributes, it can get us in trouble. You may remember when Elijah Cummings, the US congressman, died last month now, in October. Many people actually chose the wrong photograph to illustrate their tweets, using instead images of John Lewis, another Black congressman. And that caused quite a bit of upset in the United States. So people perhaps need to take a little bit of a pause for thought before posting their messages of remembrance, because it should be a respectful thing.
And think twice before those cemetery selfies. I feel like every year
absolutely.
we see some controversy over that. Emma James with Media Watch, thanks so much for that update.